Does money talk, or does it scream in the face of loyalty? That is the burning question tearing through the streets of Philadelphia right now, leaving a bitter taste in the mouths of the faithful. We are witnessing the brutal, unforgiving nature of the hot stove season, and quite frankly, the Philadelphia Phillies just took a massive hook to the jaw. We need to talk about the heartbreak, the anger, and the immediate necessity to stop the bleeding before the season even throws its first pitch. Imagine the scene. The meetings were set, the vibes were immaculate, and the fanbase was already photoshopping Bo Bichette into that iconic pinstriped uniform. It felt inevitable. It felt destined. And then, silence, followed immediately by the thunderclap of a rival's checkbook. The New York Mets didn't just sign a player, they executed a hostile takeover, dropping a 3-year, $126 million war chest on the table to snatch Bichette away. That is an average annual value of $42 million, a number that screams desperation and dominance in equal measure. For Phillies fans, seeing a prime target head up the eye. 95 to Queens isn't just a missed opportunity, it's a declaration of war from a division rival. But here is where the narrative shifts from tragedy to strategy. The reality of the Major League Baseball offseason is that you cannot mourn. There is no time for self-pity when your ace pitcher, Zack Wheeler, is rehabilitating an elbow issue that has the entire front office holding its breath. The loss of Bichette is a massive blow to the lineup's potential ceiling, absolutely. However, the potential absence or limitation of Wheeler is a threat to the team's very floor. We have seen this story play out in baseball history time and time again. A team chases a shiny offensive superstar, misses, and realizes their foundation is cracking. Dave Dombrowski is not a man who sits idly by while his ship takes on water. The whiff on Bichette, as Christopher Klein from Fansided so aptly put it, has set the franchise back, but it has also clarified the mission. The luxury of adding a luxury bat is gone. Now, it is about survival and stabilization. The conversation has violently shifted from how many runs can we score to who is going to eat these innings. If you look back at the Phillies' recent history, their success has been predicated on dominant starting pitching, carrying them through October. Without Wheeler at 100%, that identity is in jeopardy. The front office is now forced into a high-stakes pivot, looking away from the glamour of the infield and staring directly at the gritty, unglamorous reality of the rotation. The fans are furious, half of them demanding a splashy signing to save face, while the cooler heads realize that a disaster in the rotation would be far worse than missing out on a shortstop. The pressure is mounting, and the next move must be perfect. So, where do we go from here? If the Mets are going to play the villain by stealing our targets, perhaps it is time for the Phillies to return the favor to the rest of the NL East. Enter Chris Bassitt. We aren't talking about a young flamethrower who lights up the radar gun and blows out his elbow in August. We are talking about a professional pitcher in the truest sense of the word. At 36 years old, Bassitt represents something the Phillies desperately need right now: certainty in an uncertain world. Let's break down the analytics and the market dynamics, because this is fascinating. Reports suggest a valuation around the $63 million mark, a significant investment for a veteran. But look at the ROI, return on investment. Bassitt has thrown at least 157 innings in each of the last 5 full seasons. In an era where pitchers are babied and pulled after 4 innings, Bassitt is a throwback workhorse. He owns a 3.66 ERA over that stretch. He doesn't overpower you, he outthinks you. He disrupts timing, mixes speeds, and induces the kind of soft contact that keeps defenses asleep. For a team waiting on Zack Wheeler, Bassitt isn't just a placeholder, he is an insurance policy with all-star pedigree. But here is the spicy part of this equation, the subplot that makes this a blockbuster narrative. The Atlanta Braves are circling. Of course they are. The Braves are projecting confidence, but we know better. Their rotation has been decimated by injuries over the last year, and they are desperate for the exact same stability Philadelphia craves. Chase Earl from Sports Talk ATL hit the nail on the head. The Braves cannot rely on broken arms to defend a division title. They need a steady hand. By targeting Bassitt, the Phillies wouldn't just be solving their own Wheeler size problem, they would be actively sabotaging the Braves' recovery plan. Think about the strategic implications of the salary cap and roster construction here. If the Phillies sign Bassitt, they secure the middle of their rotation. If they let him slide to Atlanta, they have to face him multiple times a year, watching him carve up their lineup while their own bullpen gets taxed to death covering for injured starters. This is a zero-sum game. Acquiring Bassitt is a defensive move for the roster, but an offensive strike against the division. It is the classic addition by subtraction from your rival. We have seen Dombrowski make these moves before, identifying the veteran who stabilizes the clubhouse culture. Bassitt fits that mold perfectly. He is known for his intensity and preparation. Bringing that into a Phillies locker room that is reeling from the Bichette rejection could be the galvanic shock they need. It's not the sexy signing. It won't sell as many jerseys as Bichette would have. But in September, when the arms are tired and the playoff race is tight, a guy who can give you 7 solid innings is worth his weight in gold. We have arrived at the moment of truth. The question isn't just about whether Chris Bassitt is a good pitcher. The numbers prove he is. The question is whether this move signals a resignation to a defensive season or a brilliant tactical adjustment. If the Phillies pull the trigger on this veteran right-hander, they are effectively saying, we might not have the flashiest lineup in the league anymore, but you are going to have to drag us off this field to beat us. It is a shift toward a war of attrition. Let's project the future scenario here. Suppose the Phillies pass on Bassitt. They rely on internal options or lesser free agents to patch the hole left by Wheeler. Suddenly, you're in June, the bullpen is fried from overwork, and you're 5 games back in the wildcard race because you didn't have a reliable arm to stop losing streaks. That is the nightmare scenario. Conversely, if they sign him and Wheeler returns healthy, look at that rotation depth. You have a surplus of arms, which is the single greatest currency in October baseball. You can move Bassitt to the bullpen for the playoffs, or use him to piggyback starts. The flexibility he provides is invaluable. However, we must address the elephant in the room. The fans. There is a segment of the Philadelphia fan base that will view this as a consolation prize. They wanted the Ferrari, Bichette, and they might be getting the reliable pickup truck, Bassitt. But championships are often won by the pickup trucks, the guys who show up every 5th day, ignore the noise, and get the job done. This is a test of the front office's resolve. Can they ignore the noise of losing the star power war to the Mets and focus on winning the baseball war against the Braves? This creates a fascinating 3-way dynamic in the NL East. The Mets have the star power. The Braves have the system. The Phillies have the grit. Stealing Bassitt from Atlanta's grasp would be the perfect counterpunch to the Mets' checkbook diplomacy. It sends a message that Philadelphia is still hunting, still aggressive, and smart enough to know that pitching wins championships. So, I want to hear from you. This is the debate that defines the season. Are you heartbroken over losing Bo Bichette, or do you think stealing a workhorse pitcher like Bassitt away from the Braves is actually the smarter move for a World Series run? Would you rather have the flash or the durability? Smash that like button if you believe pitching is king, and let me know in the comments below, is Bassitt enough to save the rotation, or does the front office need to do more? Let's argue.